this is a really difficult situation, Jimmy. I don't ever remember a player moving to a new club where the fans rejected the player, not based on quality, not based on the sporting director or the coach wanting this player because they previously coached them or they play on a rival team, based on the player's beliefs.
We have John Tolkin, who made the big move from New York Red Bulls to Holstein Kiel in the Bundesliga. The most expensive signing in that club's history. Not much, $3 million, but still significant, right? He's making history in some capacity. So the ultras, the fan support for Holstein Kiel, not happy with the signing. And it all stems from some likes that John Tolkin had when he on social media. And so some of the likes were from questioning the existence of gravity. One was for supporting the flat earth theory. He liked COVID denialism. He liked some anti-transgender jokes and January 6th conspiracies, among others. He has I think he's taken all those down, if I'm not mistaken. He's apologized to, and the quote, to anybody who I did offend, which given that list is quite a few. And he said that liking those posts on Twitter is probably not the best thing to do. Now, that apology apparently didn't quite suffice for a lot of Kiel fans. And so here's the full I regret the things that I've done. This is from John Tolkin. I regret the things that I've done in the past and my social media activities may have hurt, irritated, or offended people. This was never my intention. I want to take this opportunity to assure you 100% that I respect all people, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. So
do you know why that didn't do what he hoped it had done?
Why?
Because he didn't really necessarily take accountability for that full accountability, and also say that I've learned, I've grown. I'm so sorry, but I've learned and I've grown from being uneducated or ignorant or all of the above. Like, really say that was wrong what I said. Not that, I said some bad things in the past. I said some bad things in the past and I was completely wrong. I'm so sorry. I understand I've done this and this and this to learn and grow from it. Accountability. I've taken it and this is how I've grown from it. And this is how I plan to address it in the future. And so this is a really difficult situation, Jimmy. I don't ever remember a player moving to a new club where the fans rejected the player, not based on quality, not based on the sporting director or the coach wanting this player because they previously coached them or they play on a rival team, based on the player's beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Charlie, was he not on? Sorry, Jimmy. Was he not on Morning Footy, or am I dreaming that he apologized on Morning Footy? I don't know if you were on that show. Maybe one of our guys can help us out. He was on one of our shows somewhere, and somebody across Paramount Plus, and somebody asked, and he apologized. And I just can't remember where, because this is going back months ago. Look, so they're telling us it was Morning Footy, so maybe you weren't on the show. I certainly wasn't on it, but I remember watching it because I thought to myself, he had already taken some heat at Red Bull, and then someone immediately asked him on air. It might have been Lahoud, actually. Now, Mike Lahoud. Now that I'm thinking about it, and he apologized there. Look, the apologies in general are they're hard to write for people because you made a mistake, and no one every apology everyone ever writes now, I'm like, why do you write an apology? Because everyone says it's not enough, right? Like what else do we want them to do? If a guy tells me, if you tell me, Charlie, hey, you said something offensive, Charlie, that's offensive. You said to me, I'm sorry, man, I didn't mean it that way. Me personally, I take it as you didn't mean it that way, and that Charlie apologized to me, and we're good to go. We move on because I want to believe you, right?
Yeah, of course you want to believe him, but would you be like, well, what did you mean? Would you?
Well, that's the thing.
Depending, I might ask him.
You didn't mean it that way, but what did you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on what
there's
levels
to it.
Okay. Right. So if that's the case, I would have said, if that's the follow-up, Charlie, what did you mean? Whatever Charlie tells me, that's what I think he means, right? Like if he says to me, no, I meant it was this and not this. Okay, it's Charlie, I believe him. But apologies are never acceptable. Go find one apology that an athlete or someone has put out there where you don't go read the comments, go, I can't believe they didn't address this. And most of these things, by the way, are not really written by the athlete or the personality, they're written by some firm.
PR.
That's why, like, sometimes I'm like, they're like some PR firm and just trying to make it right. And a lot of them have like legal stuff, maybe not this one, but there's legal ramifications, attached to them oftentimes because no one wants to get caught down the road. Look, in this social media world, I tell my kids, all three of them went through school and athletics and Division I sports. I'm like, you got to be careful what you say because you have a platform. And I think that's what John Tolkin didn't realize is he has a platform. We're never going to change everybody's beliefs about what they believe. I don't even know that he believed half the stuff because I didn't even follow any of it. I'm just reading it today and yesterday because we were there's so much stuff. Like, I don't follow all of it. You just got to be really, really careful because when you offend somebody in some of these things, the apology doesn't matter anymore to some people. Like, you're never going to get them back. I hope that he can find a way at his new club because can you imagine starting like this?
No, and Tony, I think it's not so much the apology, which is very important anyways, but I think it's action with words.
Right,
so like
right.
what was
Follow
the action
through.
you took?
Yeah.
And a lot of these apologies, like you said, are see-through. Like, there are some apologies where you read, you go, okay, this isn't see-through. And the way that maybe the person talks about it, you see, okay, this is really meaningful, that he didn't mean to have that type of impact, or he didn't know because he was, let's say young and you could make all the excuses, just naive and ignorant. And I didn't know about things a certain way. This is one of those things though, that you obviously don't want to start off on the wrong foot, but the contract signed. He's there, right? So all he can do is try and work his hardest on the pitch, and maybe off the pitch, work with the club, work with the supporters. What can I do to help to get that respect, to get that belief? Because the worst thing is having the club supporters not support you or boo you. Imagine that. No matter what you do, no matter how well you play, that will affect you negatively, and it'll be damn near impossible to succeed in a situation like that with the pressure, with the negativity. So the club, John Tolkin, they have to come together and figure out ways to change that narrative. How can I go out and impact the community? How can I bond with the supporters of this group? And trust me, the work that he puts in to do that will far outweigh anything that's happened in the past, and it will only endear him to the fans that much more. So you turn a negative into a positive, and that's got to be the way that John Tolkin looks at this situation. Is okay, I can't control what I've done in the past, but I can control what I'm going to do in the future, now and the future. So turn a negative into a positive.
I wish both of you guys were my dads. This is really good feedback.
Don't you think, Jimmy?
No,
Jimmy, don't you foresee like a meeting? I don't know what their club supporter, like some club supporter president or group or something like that.
But this is what I think, Tones. That shouldn't be initiated by the club or a PR firm. John Tolkin should say, I want to initiate the meeting, right? I want to be the one I'm going to face this right where it is. I'm going to walk to right where it is, and I'm going to discuss it. If there's a way, I'm going to get my feedback. I'm going to listen to how it's impacted this group of fans. If I want to be here, right? I'm going to impact, and then I'm going to try to rectify some of these decisions that I made, or these likes that I have put out there. I'm going to go learn more about whatever that is, or I'm going to go help some disenfranchised people in the community of Kiel. That would be a really positive step towards to
no doubt,
not only demonstrating some maturity and some evolution, right? Because I don't know when these were all liked, but he's still a young guy, right? So you got to give people room to grow. Also, with regard to the flat earth theory, dude, that guy just needs to make that part of it a joke. Just be like, I'm all in on, we got a flat earther on the Holstein Kiel, I mean, the guy's he's traveled all over the world, and he's been on planes before. So there's a lot to debunk flat earth, but I think there's one or two of those that could be kind of funny, but the other ones in terms of, we're trying to make it a bit of a joke, but also with the ones where our transgender stuff or whatever it may be, just just dismissing disenfranchised people, there's plenty of opportunities for him in every city, in every community, to go help that segment of the community get more visibility, get more support, more love, right? Because there's a lot of people hurting out there in a lot of different areas. So go give some love, go give some support, and that would go a long way, I think, to showing that he's matured.
And I want to shout out. I want to shout out Catherine in the YouTube comments. She said, "Youth is no excuse for hate." No, it's not an excuse.
That's very true.
But it damn well could be a reason, because when you are young, you look up, you absorb everything. So whether that you're digesting bad conversations from your family, from your friends, and you take that.
You're ignorant. You're just a little more ignorant, I think.
So from that standpoint,
but it's
not an excuse, but it could be a reason why he was saying those things or believing those things, and that's the whole part of growing and learning and making amends for some of those comments that he's made. So the ball is in the court of John Tolkin and the club. They have to come together on figuring out what's the right step forward. How do we start bridging this gap? How do we start making John Tolkin just a better person in general? Even if he has grown. Now it's demonstrated. And so, right. Jimmy, I think you're spot on in just getting out in the community in Holstein Kiel,
but initiating that, not being told he needs to do it. He's got to go do it himself. It's got to come from him. It's the only way it's going to be real, right? And
if anyone, Jimmy, if anyone's advising him right now, I would think that they've already advised him that you got to get ahead of this thing and you got to make yourself available for whatever questioning, the groups that have a problem with whatever. Again, I'm not schooled on all the things that he did. And quite honestly, I didn't even know what flat earth theory was until we got a rundown yesterday. And I had to go look it up online because I really don't pay that much freaking attention, if I'm being honest. But if I'm advising him, I'm like, okay, what's our next step? Like, let's go do it right now. This is the things that people have a problem with what you said. Let's go tell them first you apologize, which is already done in a statement, but you still apologize again. This is where I've gotten better. This is what I learned. And this is where I'll be better moving forward. Any questions from there? And then just address it. Just get it over with because he as little as it is, he is the highest transfer ever at the club. And this is how you're starting, right? And I know it's not $100 million transfer, but for this club, this feels like $100 million transfer, right? This is their guy that they brought in, and you don't want to start this way. And quite honestly, I'm assuming, knowing John Tolkin, he's a happy-go-lucky kind of kid, kind of he's just got a little edge to him, which everyone likes. And hopefully he can get past this for the rest of his career, not just for like now, forever. It's important for him.